What's up, everybody? It's time now to meet Daniel Madison. So this is an old podcast which I'm re-uploading, and this is when I went down to meet Daniel Madison, and this is taken from his Madcast. So if the sound's a little bit different, then that's what it is. But let's get on with it. Fusco and Friends.
Hi, I'm Daniel Madison. Welcome back to Madness, the videocast, podcast, Madcast. Still don't know what to call it. This is episode 6. We're joined today by Keith Fusco.
That's right.
First of all, Keith, thanks for making the journey and coming up and spending some time with me.
Alright, thanks for having us.
So today we've just been chilling so far, not doing too much.
No.
Had a bit of Greg's.
Yeah. Decided not to walk because it was raining.
Yeah, and mainly spoke about merch. As you can see, we're marching today. So yeah, I guess for people who don't know who you are, I discovered you first on Instagram because you made some merch.
I did.
And then you were kind enough to send me some merch, not just some, but quite a lot. And I was so impressed. And
Yeah, because I bought the Pink Advocates and I did a YouTube video on that, and I had the little card sleeping bag.
yeah, no, I've got that in there. Yeah. So I got in touch and just asked what you could do, because I'm kind of developing my merch a little bit. We'll talk about that when the time's right. But we've done a lot of talking about that so far. So yeah, I saw you on Instagram first, so then I checked out your YouTube, and been following you ever since.
Thank you.
And impressed with everything that you do and everything that you can do. But from today talking to you, I found out that would you consider yourself, like, how far along that scale would you consider yourself, a beginner to expert?
Probably like
with playing cards.
beginner, slightly over beginner.
Yeah.
So I think it was about 2 years ago.
2 years.
So I met at a wedding convention.
Right.
And I saw a magician there and was just sort of blown away by it.
Right.
So I went on YouTube, saw yourself, like Chris Ramsey, Wes Barker, Peter
Sure,
McKinnon
yeah.
as well. Just sort of following from then, and then
You got the bug.
from there, yeah.
Yeah. But aside from that, your main passion or job is photography. Is that right?
It is, yeah.
Video,
Photos and videos.
cinematography, the whole
Yeah.
thing. So what kind of photography do you do? Pretty much anything.
Yeah, like I used to do a lot of photography workshops, so I would teach other photographers like
Yeah.
how to do lighting and all that sort of thing.
Right,
do
right.
product shots and
I could have done with your help
things like
last week. Yeah.
But yeah, and then obviously portraits and other things like that, and then it's just sort of progressed on. Obviously with lockdown, we were just sort of locked in and got loads of decks of cards, so taking pictures, and obviously when I did the review for this, did some pictures for that,
Yeah.
did different things. So
Yeah.
I think with having the love and passion for magic, and then the same for the photography, it's just sort of mix them both together.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to have a YouTube channel as well. Obviously, you need to know what you're doing with the cameras. You obviously know so much more than I do. Even after 20 years, all I know how to do is turn them on and press record. The rest is down to editing.
Yeah. With your jump cuts and all, yeah.
Yeah. Learn a few tricks. But yeah, COVID comes along, and that kind of, I guess, that affected you
Yeah.
quite badly.
Like a lot of the commercial clients I had weren't working because they weren't distributing the machinery out and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So obviously we were doing the clothing as like a sideline, and then the clothing company just blew up over lockdown. So we're doing like a lot of stuff for people. So we did this design for after every storm comes a rainbow, which was like for hopefully when COVID finishes, then that's going to happen.
Yeah.
That went mental, and obviously with yourself doing this, and then we've had loads of other companies who are using us now for merch.
Right. So kind of that's, would you say that's, excuse me, would you say that that's taken over the photography?
About half your half still.
Yeah. You're never going to give up.
No.
Photography. No.
Definitely not.
Never going to stop.
No. I think we've got like 3.5 days photography, 3.5 days clothing, and then no days off. So
yeah. So as kind of as a beginner on YouTube with magic, like how are you finding the experience of YouTube so far?
Like
good.
There's a lot of different variety out there. Like yourself, who's got like really in-depth long videos, and then there's people who are just sort of like bish bash, that's how you do trick, that's it. So depending on what you want to learn and what sort of time you got for learning, then it's the different people that you can go to and follow. But I think there's loads and loads of resources out there. Yeah. And then obviously when I've done my YouTube channel, trying to some of the stuff that I've learned as well to try and teach that with other people. Yeah.
It can be kind of disheartening when you get to a certain point and the numbers don't grow. Yeah. You know, like subscribers and all that. But I learned a long time ago to ignore that.
Forget about it.
Just stay away from that. As long as you're doing what you love, that's all that matters.
It is.
That's really all that matters. By the way, I'm picking at the shrink wrap on these playing cards. We've changed the shrink wrap, so the future decks that we do now, by the way, they're all going to be in cellophane. That includes the new ones as well. I can't even remember what Strangers, Devil's Advocate, and then everything else is going to be shrink wrap, because it's having to use a knife to open the deck is just so impossible, so difficult. So I teach magic, card tricks, and the likes. That's something we've got in common. But you with photography. Yeah. How long have you been teaching photography for?
Probably about 4 years. So I started photography 2006.
Yeah.
I think it was 2009. Started doing paid work, and obviously it wasn't until 2006. No, 2006. Yeah, roughly 4 years ago when I got my photography studio, that's when I started doing all the teaching and stuff.
Sure. Is that a case of like you getting people in?
Yeah.
And actual workshops?
Yeah, so every 2 weeks we used to get people in. So we'd have some models and photographers. They would come in the studio environment and teach them obviously the settings you need for the camera, if you're using lights, how to use the settings on the lights and position them, use the modifiers, all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And obviously the same with the video, I've done a lot of other stuff.
That was intentional.
It's like my magic. But yeah, just been doing that, and obviously with COVID hit, I couldn't do that, so I was doing a lot more stuff on YouTube for the photography stuff, trying to teach that as well.
Yeah. So teaching photography online, how have you found that?
All right.
Yeah.
I think it's a lot.
Still get the customers. I mean, still get the students. I mean, there's always going to be people wanting to know more and more.
Yeah, especially stuff like editing, so Premiere Pro editing, doing for the video, Capture One for photos and stuff. Like, there's always people wanting to learn new things or how to do
so
things.
You teach the whole range, like editing too, and that's really cool. What got you into merch?
Well, at the time when I got into it, I was doing some photography for a clothing company. Well, it was a gym who's got their own clothing company, and so obviously I was doing all the photos for them, doing all the like they were doing their own merch, and I wanted some merch for myself with like the Fusco media on. So if I'm out taking pictures, people know it's this. and they were like, oh well, we can do you this, and then we'll give you the supplier and help you get on if you want to do your own stuff as well.
Yeah.
So we just got our own, like the heat press, the cutter and stuff. Did all the vinyl, all the suppliers, and just went from there.
Yeah.
Started doing it for ourselves, offering it out to a few other people, and then everyone was like, oh, I need this, I need this, I need this.
Yeah.
And it just went massive. So
How long's it been?
I think it's about 3 years now.
Yeah.
And then the first year we didn't really do much, and then after that we were just sort of pushing it more. So
Yeah. I wish I could tell people what we have planned, but I got to kind of bite my tongue. But yeah, we've got some good stuff planned, which I'm dead excited about. I'm so excited about. So you live in Durham.
yeah, near Durham.
Yeah. How long did it take you to get here?
It's about an hour and a half. Well, it's an hour and 45 because there was
Yeah.
a bit of a crash on the A1, but it's not too bad.
I thought it was much further away from that for some reason. My car once broke down. The first trick that I ever released, that I ever published, was called. I originally called it Ruby, because I'll explain why in a minute. But they changed it to Memento. Or they asked me for a different name because they weren't happy. So this is Magic Box in Newcastle. So I drove to Newcastle and cut a deal with them, and they said the only thing we don't like is the name. And because it was such a personal story that I'd applied to the trick. I wasn't too happy with it, but I understood it was business, so we changed it to Memento, and the idea was that you say, I think my original pitch was my auntie Ruby, she's no longer with us. It's been a few weeks, and she showed me a trick. And she signed her name on one of the playing cards, and then I'd tell you to hold the deck and see if you can pick up any feelings, and then whichever card that you named, we'd spread it out and we'd find the card, and sure enough it'd say Ruby on it. And that's why I wanted to call it Ruby, because it's kind of a half truth. I've still got that card. And that inspired the trick. And anyway, I'm talking about that trick because, on a side note, I was once at somebody's wedding, and the magician, I can't remember who he was, but there was a magician there, and he showed our table a trick, and it was my trick. It was Memento. and I couldn't believe it. I was like, he's doing my trick. I felt really kind of proud. But yeah, anyway, I was driving home from Newcastle, and my car broke down at Durham. So I got to spend the day in Durham. So I've seen Durham for one day, and it was a
what do you think?
very nice experience. It was in the summertime. And,
not so good. It's like when it's now raining.
Yeah. But yeah, since then, the method for Memento has changed, improved dramatically. So don't look it up and don't buy it. Probably shouldn't. Yeah, I will say, because it's part of the Advocate and the Devil's Advocate. I'll leave links in the video description, but there's a version of that which means you can hold the deck and you can spread and you can find and you can check. Whereas the first version, you couldn't do that. I had to do the work, and I had to spread the cards very carefully, but yeah, funny experience. Just reminded me, Durham.
Well, the first trick for me that really got us, thing when I mentioned about the wedding thing, it was the Omni deck.
Yeah.
And I was just like,
I love the Omni deck.
how's that thingy? And then like obviously now you know, it's like that's class that, and the reactions that I get is just
Yeah. I love it. I absolutely love it. The Omni deck. I have an interesting story about it, which I'm sure I'm not supposed to tell, but I'll tell it anyway. I was working as a TV consultant for somebody. I'll find the playing card because I remember the experience well. What a coincidence! The playing card is on top. So, if I kind of show you, for people who are kind of really into magic and really know a lot about magic and TV magic, you'll know what I'm talking about. We took the Omni deck idea to the next level, and we got Omni deck made out of glass, out of real glass. So the participant would name a playing card, in this case the 2 of spades, and eventually you would hold the deck up. How do you? Oh yeah. You'd hold the deck up. You just hold the deck up like this, and then you drop the deck to the floor, out, not to the table, but to the floor, and the whole deck would smash, shatter
playing card
everywhere, and leave behind that one playing card, and the glass would just go everywhere. And it was one of my, it is one of my all-time favorite tricks of all time.
Yeah.
And we made 100 of those, and we performed it I'd say about 50 times, and it only ever got shown once. And you never hear much talk about it. So I'm not sure if people liked it or not.
Yeah.
But I did it once because I took loads of them. I've done it quite a few times. And it's a bit odd because obviously it's glass. It smashes, you leave it behind. It's hazardous.
Loads of shards of glass.
Yeah, so you got to tidy up afterwards. But I did it in this nightclub once, and when I dropped the glass just bounced and then slid across the floor. But the playing card still stayed. So they thought that was the effect. Oh my god, the deck's turned into glass and the cards. Yeah, that's a good memory. But yeah, I love the Omni deck.
I was gonna say, I love like visual magic like that.
Yeah,
where it's like interactive with it, and
yeah, especially when if you can do magic where you barely touch the cards, or the participant touches the cards either an equal amount of time as you, or for a longer amount of time as you, they're the best kind of tricks. I think that's the best advice to aim for. Touch the deck as least time as possible.
Yeah.
Which is difficult to say when you're practicing. Yeah. Do you have a favorite trick?
I don't know. Just like a number of different ones. Like I showed you the thing on my keys.
Yeah,
obviously that's quite good.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because we like a lot of stuff with fire, so obviously you get the card to force on them, and then say, oh, have you got a lighter? Burn your fingers and like again, visual magic is like stuff like that. So it's quite handy to have in your pocket. So no matter where you are, you can sort of perform that.
Yeah.
So I love stuff like that, especially like when we're doing events and weddings and things. It's little things like that we can do.
Yeah.
So on my camera bag, got like a deck of cards, got like the little baby hand with a magnet in.
Yeah.
Like stupid stuff like that. Like
I
like a lot of comedy stuff as well.
Yeah. I've got that baby hand somewhere. And it's got my tattoos on it. I put all my tattoos on it.
When I first got it, and I was just doing the trick, and I was just like, that's class that. I just kept doing it, just laughing.
Oh yeah, speaking of lighter tricks, I'll grab it Now, the Christopher Penny created this Scorched. We'll do a close-up afterwards. But this thing is incredible. I love it. 9 of clubs on top. There's a few dangers with it. Like it is quite dangerous. I can't remember which one of these works. Nope.
Not that one.
Maybe
that.
neither of them. This one looks like it's been. But anyway, you put this on top. I'll leave a link to this, by the way, because I'm sure there'll be people who want to get hold of it. You light it, and then you leave it, and it heats up. Basically, the 9 of clubs, and then when you're ready,
Brand it anyway.
you need to kind of. It gets really hot,
Ugh.
and then you can stick down, and it browns on it, the 9 of clubs, and this might disturb the audio a little bit, but under the sausage, there's a pretty decent one there next to the mic. Yeah, I love that. I really love that. Yeah. The lighter tricks. There's not too many lighter tricks. I mean,
No.
I've got 9 of clubs revelation on there, but apart from that, the other one says sausage. That's just for fun. But yeah, this thing's brilliant. So yeah, if you can't get one, do get one. I'll put it back.
You can get them in any card as well, can't you?
Yeah. Once you order, you can put a request in for any playing card. What does the future look like for you?
What, in terms of YouTube and the channel and stuff? Or
Yeah,
just in
business, YouTube.
Well, I was saying earlier, it'd be nice to sort of do more stuff on the channel to actually help other magicians with recording video or trying to get different angles and stuff like that to help them better their channels as well.
Yeah.
And obviously trying to sort of to brand out and do different things like that.
That's one of the main reasons why I've always had you in mind since the first episode to have you on, to have you here, is to talk about that, because the amount of magic performances, whether it's a simple snap change, a bottom deal, a colour change, people don't. I don't think people put enough effort into the way that it's filmed, or how it's filmed, or the environment, and it's so easy. Like, if I see, like, let's say we're on Instagram, and if I see somebody sat on his bed with a deck of playing cards, I'll keep scrolling.
Or the other one sat on the floor and the camera's on the end and they're just doing it on the floor like that.
Yeah, and it's nothing to do with you know the bedroom or anything like that. It's to do with the fact that taking a few steps further, making a little bit more effort. It doesn't take much.
No.
It doesn't take much at all, and that's why I like what you're doing with YouTube, because hopefully people will start listening to you and take your advice. And when I started by putting just a big black sheet up in my bedroom, like stapling it to the walls, and then just so that it looked like something more than a bedroom. And it was so easy. It was so easy to do, and people don't seem to do it right. There's a lot of people who get it wrong, and I think their focus is so much on the magic and the trick,
rather than the visuals of it,
and how it turns out. So I think what you're doing and the things that you do with your channel Yeah, I think it's a very, very wise idea.
Because I think the thing with like your Instagram, so everyone's just flicking through, so you need something to sort of visually capture them,
Yeah,
so they can stop and watch.
yeah.
Whereas if it's just like something plain and stuff, people are not going to watch it.
I think the problem with Instagram at the minute is, and any social media at the minute, it's so easy to be dismissive. Just like I said with somebody sat on the bed, like if something like even subconsciously gets you by that picture that you don't like, you'll just keep scrolling. So we might put a whole day's worth of effort into something like this, and someone might just see it on Instagram and then just keep scrolling, and that's us done. That's us over for that person. Do you know what I mean?
Do.
And so I'm glad that you're doing that, because as far as I know, nobody else is. Even though there's a lot of people teaching photography, a lot of people getting onto that photography wagon. There's no one specifically like saying this is how you film magic and this is the best, you know. And it's not just about angles, you know. It's more than just about angles.
Because with things like when I was like practicing tricks and then I was recording myself back to watch them, so for like flashes and stuff like that. It's like, all right, well, the camera needs to be slightly angled so you can't see the flash, and it's like that sort of thing that you need to figure out and do that. And obviously, things with if you're doing it in a dark room, move next to a window so that's in more window light.
What would you say to anybody who said that they didn't have the right camera equipment?
Well, you can just shoot on your phone.
Yeah.
It's just trying to get the mindset of thinking the more light, the better it is. So your video is not going to be dark or grainy. So if you've got a window, use next to that, or even sort of go outside.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that. So getting some lamps or anything you got around the house.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you can still record something good on a phone or a DSLR or GoPro or anything. It's just like most of it's about the lighting and things like that.
Yeah. My friend Larry said to me in my early days, very luckily stayed in my head, he said it doesn't matter what camera you're using, all that matters is the lighting. If you get the lighting right, it doesn't matter which camera you use.
Like obviously your camera makes it easier to try and get something, so if you're in a dark room you can put high ISO, but if you just chuck a light in, you don't need to do that. Yeah.
I mean, obviously I'm shooting with two Canons, GoPro. So I guess that's why the idea stuck in my head, and I wish that I knew where it came from. Perhaps somebody in the comments can tell me. What people think of you is none of your business, and that's been very helpful for me. Something that will always stick. Confidence too, like you seem to have a lot of confidence. Do you feel confident when you're filming, when you're doing what you do? I
think it's just, again, with trial and error. Like,
yeah.
Obviously, when you put the camera on, when you're talking to the camera and stuff, you know you can cut it out. So if you mess something up, then you just start again and do it again. And the more you do it on the camera, you get over that initial feeling of staring at the camera like this, thinking, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to do. It's just, you get used to it over time, and then you just pick it up.
So I think what we're going to do, because I want you to come back for a second podcast for when we can talk about what we want to talk about. I think we'll wrap up, but I want to show you a trick. So as always, if the cameras can see this, I've been using the soap theory, which is basically means when I'm shuffling the cards, I'm not shuffling the cards. It used to be called the dirty B swear word theory. And essentially, you make it look like you've never handled a deck of cards before.
Yeah.
Because when you're cheating at cards, if anybody sees you shuffling like that, they think, you can't do anything, you know. So looking at the deck, I don't think I've missed any cards.
No.
And we didn't I didn't ask you to do anything, we didn't set anything up. And I will reveal this with this camera afterwards. Name any playing card.
7 of hearts.
7 hearts. So I'll be as careful as I can. One card in this whole deck has a different colour back.
Those are going to be 7 of hearts.
Turn it over. No, let me show you how I did it. And, don't anybody hate me for this. Because there is a bit of a double deception going on. We didn't set this up.
No?
That's not what's happened.
No.
So yeah, the deck's in order. And if anybody watches back on this video carefully, you'll see the moment that this happened. Every single card in this deck is blue. So no matter which card you mention,
It would have been the wrong way.
it would have been blue. And the pink box obviously just lends itself to the final deception. So sorry to break your heart. It wasn't a real trick as far as you're concerned. But yeah, Keith, thanks so much for joining us. Keith will be back because we've got a lot to talk about which we can't talk about yet. And I can't wait to share it with you. So thanks so much. I'll leave all the links to Keith's information in this video description. And until next time, which will be episode 7, which I will let be a surprise, and it's going to be filmed next Friday. So look out for that next weekend. So I'm Daniel Madison.
I'm Keith Fusco.
And this was episode 7 of Madcast.